So, you want to make a map for Floodescape 2. Well, you've come to the right place. In this mini-series, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about making a Floodescape 2 map. The basics, the advanced, and all of the tips and tricks you'll ever need. Welcome to Map Making Academy. Hello, good morning, and good evening. My name is Asada, and in this week's installment of Map Making Academy for Floodescape 2, we're going to tackle the very first and arguably most important stages of creating a map. I'll be showing you how to put together the foundational idea of your map, including the theme, tone, music, and the very basics about the layout. An important first decision you will need to make about your map will be its theme. A theme is a general idea of a map, usually including a location and a tone. It can sometimes include a difficulty, but it doesn't necessarily need to. Themes can range anywhere between a casual and exploratory swim through icy waters, a calculated and focused traversal through a technologically advanced nuclear reactor, a heart-pounding race through a destroyed school, or a panic sprint through a sinking laboratory set inside the base of a volcano. The theme of a map can be anything you want it to be, but a great way to select a theme would be starting by finding a good music track to be used in your map. I cannot stress enough that the music choice is probably the most important decision of the map you can make, as a great song can do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to creating the layout of the level. Then, the tricky part becomes finding a song that fits just right for you, whether you're open to ideas in the theme or if you're dead set on a specific ambience. A great place to start is to look through some other games you've played in the past. I myself have a collection of PlayStation and Nintendo games that I played a lot when I was younger. Of course, regardless of what games you have, you can always go online and search up other video game OSTs to use. You can usually find one that is paced and themed just right for your map. On YouTube, you can find playlists of game soundtracks, other games with level creators and custom music, and you can also browse from specific artists too. If you find something you like but you can't afford the 70 Robux to upload it, it might be worth your time to search through the Roblox library of songs to find something you might like instead. You never know, if you find the song you wanted to upload is already on Roblox, you just save yourself some Robux. Of course, the premium way to find a song is to actually make your own or pay someone else to do it for your map. While this is the best way to get a song that fits within the needs of your theme, I understand that not many people will have the money or the creative talent to do this, but it is by far the best option. There are a few important things to remember when selecting a song. First, your map will be no longer than 2 minutes, and it should ideally be anywhere between 1 minute to 1 minute 45 seconds. That means your music section is going to end up being less than 2 minutes in length. If your song is too long for a map, you might need to get a program like Audacity to shorten it to just the sections you like, or you might have to end up passing up the song for a better one. On the contrary, there can be some songs or song samples that are too short for a map to use. Putting in a music that loops halfway through the map could be a tricky affair, as you'll need to make sure the music loops perfectly. If you don't trust Roblox to do it for you, you can also try your hand in making a song loop with Audacity, although I simply recommend finding a longer song in the first place. Finally, while I haven't seen a lot of people trying this, using a song with lyrics requires careful thinking about how the lyrics will fit into the map. You also need to make sure that Roblox doesn't take the audio down due to copyright in most cases. With all these guidelines for finding a proper song, what even is the point of making sure the song works out? The answer is, good music choice can create opportunities for you to divide up your map. It can help to give each room a flavor of its own, or it can simply be used to enhance the tone of the map and make each section feel more distinct and memorable. To elaborate on this concept, I'm going to go through a couple of examples of great correlation between a map and its soundtrack. Let's start with an obvious example, being Sinking Ship by Crazy Blocks. As we first enter into the map, the music very clearly tells us that we're at the bottom, and as the string comes in, we're told that tensions are rising and that we need to be swift. This is further exemplified as the water changes to acid along the floor of the map. The drums start to quicken as the strings and the bass all come to a head at once and the acid starts to rise rapidly. The strings pitch up, bringing the tone from one of suspense to one of action. Right as the organ comes in, we're given another bass drop, and as if things couldn't get any worse, the acid turns to lava. Now we've made it to the top as we get a small pause when the drums come in, but we're let known quickly that our work is not yet complete. Everything comes back gradually. The strings, then the piano, then the chorus, and finally the organ once again. Everything converging all at once to give us one final send-off as we complete the map, each room giving it its own sense of tension. Let's take a different example that's less concrete with the rooms, but is more tonally appropriate. Magmatic Minds by Short Round Zach with music composed by Blasty. She's super cool. Link to her website in the description. Keep in mind how the xylophones come back in and out as we get closer and further away from the lava. The music gets a little more intense as we enter the climbing section and we start to quickly go upwards. When we get to the top, we get a moment of respite as the music lets off and we get some higher pitched staccato strings. As we enter the next section, we're dangerously close to the lava once more, and thus the xylophone comes right back. We get another respite as we enter the cool water, getting away from the burning lava as the xylophone slows down and we reach the conclusion of the map. Choosing the music before you make the map gives you a much greater ability to synchronize and adapt the map to the song and give it a much richer quality than if the music were to be selected afterwards. Both of these OSTs were built in conjunction with their map, and that's why both of them stick out to me so much more than any other maps. But let's say, for instance, you either haven't decided on a song, or you want to choose your music a little bit later on. If that's the case, you have to ask yourself a few questions. What do you want the players to see in your map? Where do you want them to start, and where do you want them to go? If the music is not going to provide a sense of moving forwards, or a sense of progression in your map, then you're going to have to make up for it twofold by yourself. Are there any gameplay elements I specifically want that can't be used in this theme? Are there any that would work specifically well in this theme? If you're moving your way through a space station, it wouldn't make much sense for you to go swimming with an air tank on. Or for example, in a map where you go lower and lower into the ground to try and uncover some sort of secret treasure, you might not want a large, frantic climbing section like that in a sinking ship. Finally, are there any uncommon themes you might want to try and explore? We've all seen maps set in laboratories, maps set in volcanoes, or maps that follow Geometry Dash style of going for color instead of location. Perhaps it's time to try something new, like a deserted island, or a snowy blizzard with very limited visibility. If there's one thing I ask of you when it comes to deciding on a theme, it's that you don't go halfway with a map. There's these types of maps recently that people have been creating called layouts, and in my opinion they are an affront to all other maps that people put time and effort into. If you're going to create a map, you need to put it together all in one package. Don't leave out the design. Now that you've gotten yourself a theme and a music choice for the map you want to make, there's one more optional step you can take, and that's to draw out the map on paper. Now, hear me out on this one. You don't have to strictly draw out every detail on a piece of paper, but listening through your music choice a few times, giving yourself a general layout, and making a few notes for later will help the map making process fly by much quicker and much easier than if you don't. Because making a map is a three-dimensional affair, I like to make two separate drawings for my maps. One that shows the basic floor plan from a top-down view, and one that shows the verticality of the map. If you take the time to make a basic plan, everything will be so much smoother when you sit down to actually put together the map. I highly recommend you do this step, although it's very optional. So, now you know about the importance of choosing a good theme and music track for your map, and you have a few good ways of finding ones to use. Next time, we're going to go through the basics of Studio, including using the map kit, settings, and a few handy shortcuts for building. Until next time, this has been Asuna. See you soon.